Ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ bájò, ṣẹ̀kẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ bájò, olúwa mi ò dìde ojú
The Ashen Forge. The Ashen Forge.
Hello and welcome to the Ashen Forge. I am Phantom X, joined as always by Diggs and the legendary Neurotoxin. How's it going?
All right.
All right. Here, Ashes of Creation. Here we are. Guess before we jump in, I got a list of stuff to go over. How long ago did we last do a show? I can't remember.
A few weeks, I think it was before my birthday.
So it was probably after the last live stream, and so now we've had another live stream to kind of go over. But
wait, did we not talk about the so we had one where we talked about the previous one, or we didn't talk about the previous?
I think we did.
Yeah,
we talked about Harbingers, right? Is that right?
I think so. That's what I think.
Yeah, I believe so.
Sport fishing.
Yeah.
What else? Summoner stuff. How y'all feeling about Ash's creation? I don't think either of you are playing, are you?
I know, because I was going to try to play last weekend, but it takes forever for it to download, and it like hours. And then I end up thinking I'm just going to play something else and do other stuff.
Hours.
I can't even get it downloaded, so and get into play. So, it's not the best. I mean, this is the only, and that's the only game I have a problem doing that with. I hear about stability issues, and that used to be what was stopping me. I have gotten to play some of the alpha too, but it's just a challenge getting it to work on my system, and I end up playing other stuff because there's other stuff that I would like to play.
I think you're similar, Neuro, right?
Yeah, until I've got the game actually working for more than a few minutes at a time, there's not really much point for me to try to play long enough to review anything. It's just pointless. So, not because of Ashes, I've obtained a little bit of newer hardware. So, I'm going to give it one more shot. See if it's any more stable with a different CPU and a different RAM type and all of that sort of stuff. But if it isn't, then I think I'm gonna have to kind of wait until they figure all that stuff out before I can really play again and really say too much about it. But it's fine because I've been playing the hell out of Hades 2, which just came out, and that has been a lot of fun.
What other games do you have that problem with, Hero?
None.
Absolutely none.
I just wanted to make
Absolutely.
sure. This is the only game that I have Ashes is the only game that I have this struggle with. So it's something about the optimizing or something. So I would play it. I think about it, but it's too much of a struggle at the moment. So
unusual with the download. Usually it's other stuff. I wonder, you can go into options and you can actually change the number of workers basically that are downloading in parallel. That might be something I might try and see if that changes.
All right.
Yeah, but we've been watching the live streams. So reason I was asking, community has been just in a very I don't know, the not great place. I feel like this is probably one of the lower points in the history of the game. Even through sort of the APOC stuff and everything else that's kind of come and gone. I feel like I'm feeling it in the player group, everywhere, really. I mean, content creators, just their average players, the team as they're on their live streams. I mean, kind of getting a little bit frustrated of always hearing about how the content creators need to do a better job about communicating things. Like, let's, and
Okay,
you're not,
but
uh,
we could play APOC, so I did not have a problem. It was not challenging for me to download and jump into APOC. That's number one. There weren't stability issues like there are now. And then exploits. I mean, I hear an awful lot about exploit, and who's
that's on my
getting
list.
banned and who's not getting banned. I'm just saying, I hear lots of complaints about just playing the game. And then I just got one that, well, I can talk about that a little bit later, but I mean, I see lots of complaints just about the state of playing the game and kind of not wanting to play.
Yeah, there's
stuff going on.
there's a lot.
There's a lot. I would say we have told them in every way possible the economy as it exists, as it has existed since Alpha 2.5, is absolutely miserable. That even going back before that, through all of Alpha 2, the what they had before and the quantities they had before was bad, but increasing the quantities required for recipes, and instead of having the nodes people just keep on revisiting every 2 hours because they're the rare nodes that the person found, now what, I've just got to bang on any old rock if it doesn't have a signature rock type that I can find the material from. So I'm banging on the common materials, hoping for the thing I'm looking for. That just creates more waste. That just creates more slog. It doesn't help. It's you do not have enough space for any profession, except maybe fishing, I think, to really carry back a sufficient quantity of anything without having to throw some rarity of something away along the way in your gathering, or to stop the moment your bags are full and skip absolutely everything you see until you throw that stuff in the bank or on the market or wherever it's headed. So, the gathering has gotten worse. The crafting has gotten worse. Not only that, the hope for a better crafting system has gotten worse. They continue to double down on not having dynamic recipes and instead having now static recipes of different qualities at different level ranges. It doesn't make anything more satisfying. It makes it less satisfying. It feels like more of a chore. It doesn't feel like a realm of open expression in the form of how you make your craft. It feels like a rigid sort of thing where you're making fixed items just within a certain quality range. There isn't enough enhancement to be able to breathe more life and more build into the items yet. And when they do add that, I don't know if it's going to be worth it. I don't know if it's going to be cost wise for most players, worth doing for most of the game. I don't know, like, just in general, if the materials are worth it or if it's better used somewhere else. It's got a lot of trouble. It's got a lot of problems. There's too many costs. The cost of having something made, and the cost of reagents, and the cost of processing. Way too many gold sinks in the process. I know crafters might make the best stuff potentially, but they don't make it initially, and it takes a lot of effort to get them to the point where they are making things that are worth that. And then even when they can make things that are worth making, because the crafting system is material wise so onerous to actually achieve these things, you're still not going to get them. Your guild leaders, your champions among the crew will maybe be the ones who get it. Not everybody's getting armed. And I'm not going to say that's a good thing. There should be ways of doing scarcity, but this isn't it. This isn't it in the least bit. Make the material scarce and the recipes dynamic. So if you get some badass material off a boss, you can commit it to making a high quality badass item. But it isn't, oh, you need this fixed recipe. Oh, you've got a dragon scale? Great. You need 23 more of the exact same rarity, or maybe different rarities now. It's all of that just isn't doing it. The classes, thank goodness the rogue came through and showed everybody, oh wait, this is what it means to have a proper cohesive class. Maybe we do need a class overhaul. All right, that's great. I'm glad that we're able to recognize that we need a class overhaul for everybody. Hopefully the summoner will come out nice and hot and will be fun to play and will be kind of balanced within the upcoming changes that we should be hoping to see with all the rest of the archetypes. And that's just it. We're still in primary archetypeville. We've been working on it this whole time. We still don't even know what their plans are. Half of that might be, well, we're keeping our cards close to our chest, and half of it might be, well, we don't actually really have anything even remotely close to ready yet. So even if we did have the summoner out tomorrow, we're still like months away from being able to do secondary archetypes and increasing the level. And then even with that, there's other augments, not just what comes from your level system, that we're still waiting to see. So there's like systems on systems. And if they're not going to have those archetypes or those augments like they said they were going to, then like that's yet another system that's gone away. Running on Unreal 5. You go ahead. You go ahead, my man. I just spoke for a long time. I'm gonna shut up and drink some coffee.
Yeah, I just don't want you to change because there's so many things that you said that I wanted to comment on, and augments was one of them. I also was going to say that even if we don't have the augments for secondary archetypes, I was expecting maybe we would be able to see one or two racial augments or mode augments. I wonder how that would incentivize people doing whatever sieges, node wars, I guess is what's available. If you could get an augment or exactly, but according to the old terminology, which is what augments are, old terminology apparently. And I was going to add to that. Speaking of fun, I saw a thread today on the official forums where I think the title is "No Loot, No Fun. What's the point of exploring?" And in that one, Ascalon says at the end, "Yes, but if you have to kill like 1 million goblins just to reach, I don't know, level 15 to 20." then something's wrong. He said like he killed so many goblins, that his brain was fried with so many goblins he had to kill just to level up. And someone was saying like, you have to kill all these just to gain a bub or a half a bub. I remember those days. So yeah, I can see the grind of it. Some people wanted a long grind, but that's the thing that I hate is when you do a whole bunch of stuff, and then you end your session. It's like, one bub or half of a bub of a level.
I don't think grinds are inherently bad. You just have to have a lot of different ways to do it. Right now, they're just not. I mean,
well, I'm just saying, even when you do a whole bunch of stuff, if I spend like, 2 or 3 hours, I usually want something more than one bub at the end of
or you get other drops.
Even more than that, though, I don't want to grind to get my level up. It's not that I don't want to do things. It's not that I don't want to do things. It's that I want all the things I'm doing to actually feel meaningful in the world. Exactly. That's why I like doing quests. Even if they're, normal fetch 'em, kill 'em quests and stuff, at least they reveal lore about the world and they tell me to go places and what their significance is. And I can kind of role play on that and do things with it. That's what I like. Just going and killing the same things over and over, it feels antithetical to the game lore. If these things don't have souls, if these things don't have the essence, why do they keep coming back? Why do they keep respawning in place? They're not coming from a camp. They're not coming from a home. They're not coming from somewhere else. There's not cracks in the ground that they crawl up from. They just pop up out of nowhere. And so I don't know why they do that. Like, that does not, lore-wise, narratively, likewise with bandits. You've become corrupt. You've taken on corruption until you've gone somewhere and done the divine node stuff you need to do to get rid of your corruption. You're in trouble. But when I kill you enough times, maybe you'll be purified and weakened. I don't know. I never see that happen to bandits. Their population never changes. The only time it happened is when we killed so many people over by that one place that they added fire elementals. It's the fort with all the dudes outside that everybody grinds near Winstead, south of Winstead. You know the one.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
You're not talking about Steel Bloom.
No, not Steel Bloom. South of Winstead, where there's that little bay where you go to kill the things to get the
yeah, I'm not sure.
The items for the sunken ship over at Carfin. But then beside that bay is where the Highwayman Hills. That was it. Highwayman Hills. Yeah.
Oh.
We killed them so much there that they did change the population. But I think that was because we were grinding the ever living shit out of it 24/7. And they're like, we gotta do something about that.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things that I was looking forward to with Ashes of Creation, and I guess we have to say we are still early days. That's what they said on the Summoner preview. We're still in the early days. Everything is subject to change. It's Alpha 2. We're in Alpha. But one of the things that I was hoping for was dynamic world where you don't have the same stuff respawning time and time again, so that we don't have Fippy Darkpaw popping back up after we've killed him 10 times, 20 times, 50 times. He's always back in the same spot. That's one of the things that I was hoping Ashes would alleviate, and we haven't gotten there yet after 8 years. Yeah, so when will we get there? Augments as well. Well, at least again, we finally have names for 4 of the schools. I was hoping to at least see some or have an idea of what the subsets of those schools are, but by now, 8 years in. But yeah, I also want to get a little bit of Phantom's feedback, because Phantom seems to be an advocate of not really having levels, I think, for progression. Like when I play No Man's Sky, that doesn't have levels, and I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff, and I spend extra hours like, okay, just one more thing. Okay, just one more thing. Okay, I'm going to get this for this. Okay, I'm going to get this for this. And it doesn't have levels, and I don't care about levels, and it doesn't feel like a grind. So, yeah, that's possible. I mean, usually with levels in an RPG, I know that when I hit that milestone, I'm going to get extra spells or something that I'm looking forward to that's going to help me define my class. But I think Phantom might be onto something that maybe doesn't have to be in the form of levels, as long as it's fun and engaging and you're still feeling like you're in the flow as you're acquiring new stuff, I think. What are you thinking about the grind for Ashes? I mean, how it's going and how long it takes. And
So I've been playing a little bit of a game called Sword of Justice, which is sort of a Eastern sort of MMORPG. I mean, it's a mobile classic. It's not super great. It looks good. It's got a good ambiance, but they've actually, noticed this the other day. You continue you finish a story, lore, something like that, and then all of a sudden your level jumps up. So it's almost akin to what I've talked about in the past, was this idea of just let us play through a story, and then you don't have to have this. What's the point of becoming level 21, 22, 23? I don't know what you would do in Ashes without levels. Like, there's nothing else. I mean, what are you grinding towards? Because there's no story.
I guess my point is I'm starting to realize, like you said,
Oh yeah,
that there are games now that I've played in the last couple of years where I'm just enjoying doing stuff, and I don't necessarily care about levels. I don't know if they're RPGs necessarily, but I mean that could even be the place in New World. Like I'm really playing the battle pass and not necessarily the levels. So there's stuff that I want to accomplish and like get from the battle pass. It's a little different than levels.
The sort of justice. I mean, the way it's done, because even your skills are not tied to those levels. So you can find new techniques. I guess the equivalent of spells, through quests, through exploration, stuff like that. Somebody will teach you a new move, a new mechanic. So yeah, I think it functions in certain ways. Ashes, though, I don't know.
It's just a couple of years ago, I was in this big, long debate on the forums about people were saying, oh, yeah, we want a long grind. Because I think Steven at the time I can't remember how long he was saying it was going to take to get to max level, like 4 months or something to get to level 50 or something like that. 4 months. And people were like saying, oh, yeah, that's great. And I'm like, that just sounds like forever. It sounds like you're getting like one bub of experience or of a level, and that just seems like horrible. Like I'm doing all this stuff, and what do I get out of it at the end of the day? And people were saying, well, if it's fun, then it doesn't matter how long it takes. I'm kind of like, but it reminds me again of the economy, like what Neuro is saying. You collect all these resources, but you need like millions of wood to make one weapon, and you're like, really?
Imagine if they actually had arrows. I mean, it all makes sense now for why the decision was made to not have a resource like arrows. Because it's such a common comment when I'm using a bow. Is like, does it really take? Well, usually the first question is that thing you're fighting a boss? It's like, no. They're like, well, why is it taking 2,000 arrows? I can just imagine how many you'd have to carry around. No, it does. It takes like 1,000 arrows to kill something. It's
Wow.
So, it's fine. I've still been streaming in the mornings and having fun doing it. I mean, now I don't play Ashes to like, I'm not like there to crush into PvP and do all this stuff. Like, I'm grinding, but the grind is in the context of just talking with a lot of different people. So that's really what it's all about. I'm going to probably stop until November at this point. Blue Protocol comes out this week, and so we're going to switch over to that for a little while. But yeah, there's a lot of people out there still. We can kind of jump. Actually, before we jump to that, I wanted to mention you were talking about crafting, and that sort of Neuro, and that kind of brought me. I have a list of stuff to go over. None of it's super positive, I guess. This is where this is all going to come back to marketing. But before we get there, they had a patch Friday. Go ahead.
You just mentioning marketing, which is
I'll get there. Neuro, you're muted.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of bring things back around to kind of bringing it back to the state of the community. Is that like much, if not all, of what we were really hoping to see has not manifested at this point, either because the plan has changed to diverge from it, or they technically can no longer complete it. Or if they were to technically complete it, it would push the release date out to an absurd time, so they simply can't. So it's definitely a rough sort of thing where the game has changed so much, and what it's changed into isn't better than what it was going to be. the game it was setting out to be had the chance to be 9 times better than the next game, in town, which is really the requirement for something to just be, overwhelmingly better and take it over on the market. So for a game that had the mechanics and had the pedigree and everything, to have the opportunity to, really make it big, and it wasn't going to be the wild killer, it wasn't going to kill anything, but it was going to make people start subscribing to Ashes and playing it regularly too, and then going back to their other main games as like games they come back to every once in a while. So it isn't that they're dead in the water, but I feel like they've done a lot of things in a lot of ways. And this isn't even talking about marketing, and this isn't even talking about managing the community and managing expectations of the community and trying to manage the very like openly toxic, sweaty community that like the sweaty PvPers and stuff. It's they just, from all of the gameplay mechanics and narrative stuff that's changed from
Like what? Can you give us some examples? Name 3.
gameplay changes or narrative
Gameplay,
examples.
either mix and match. I just want 3 examples of stuff.
Gameplay changes. Okay. One of them is your big complaint, how much the PvP zones have encroached into all of the other areas. The crafting system not being an evolution. The crafting system not being what we saw in Alpha 1, but expanded upon and evolved and improved, which was what we were kind of expecting from the get, and instead being a completely different sort of beast that is far more tedious, far less fun, doesn't have any room for experimentation, and apparently is heavily exploitable by RMT purchasers. And a third major change, of course, is this one's a twofer. Metropolis. Not only are they getting rid of Metropolis, but Metropolis is also not going to be built up by the way the people who put in the effort are represented. All of those systems having a unique footprint every time, all that stuff's gone. We have basically still 2 footprints, don't we? That's it.
Yeah.
So you were going to say something about marketing.
Oh no, I was getting it there. I have a lot of stuff. No, first was you're talking about crafting.
A lot of stuff.
One thing that I grow even more concerned about as we move towards marketing, and I actually want, before I even get there, because I don't want to be completely like doom. I just try to be realistic, and it just, unfortunately right now we're in a spot of the game development that's doesn't have a ton of positives right now. I have fun in the morning playing with people. Like streaming is a blast to do with everyone. So that's not really where this comes from. And I do think that it's not like Ashes is foregone conclusion that it's going to fail. Like this can be a successful game. I think they have to do things in a very specific way now to be successful. But one thing I worry about is version control. Like you're talking about crafting, they patched, I think, Friday, and they patched in stuff. It was this, bigger update that had been on PTR. And it sounds like a lot of the feedback was sort of missed. And there were things like, the packs, like that. I put a picture of that in our Discord of just like literally falling out of the sky. All of these packs, and people were getting them and putting them in their caravans to transport them. And it turned, they're see a picture Saturday morning. One of the PTRs, when they were testing lighting, had an NPC that would teleport you to one of the 3 dungeon areas so that you could test lighting. So, oops, that made it into the production server. So people had a teleporter for Saturday morning. Anyways, we couldn't find it, and I went looking for it. like there's a lot of version issues that like I don't know how you. I know things happen, right? Yeah, but there's so many things that seem to happen that just sort of break stuff. They had the server downtime for like 12 hours to try to fix stuff. It was laggy. The rep from turning in, I think trade packs was like accidentally changed from 250 to 2,500. Like there's I just worry about the version control process and what's actually making it to a production server. So anyways,
That's part of, but that's part of the issue that I've always been saying about getting to this space where the game is up 24/7. It's probably much better for production. And again, we learned this from EQ Next. It's better to not be up 24/7 because, especially when you also are trying to do a PTR at the same time, not only do you have the version control, stuff sneaks through version control. Like in my day, I mean, that just happens. Stuff sneaks through. But also, it's easier on the devs if they can have a couple of days of downtime to try and fix stuff and get stuff ready for the next time. And maybe they realize, oops, something got through, so we're going to do another version. But when you have something up 24/7 and you're trying to keep the people who are playing 24/7 happy, I mean, that just takes away a lot of time to do other stuff, even production.
And then you talk about the artisan systems. Like somehow it got broken to where you could only do one at a time. Like you couldn't process 5 things. It could only be one at a time. Like there was a workaround, but you had to have certain. I don't know. It's just, you mentioned EverQuest Next. This is something that comes up on stream a lot when we talk about being up, 24/7. And what we experienced with EverQuest Next was that they were always in such a push to get out these updates, but they never actually fixed the bugs that came from the previous update. And then things started to kind of compound and compound and compound.
And they didn't have time to work on the real game.
And right. And so we kind of, now we don't know what's going on in the background, right? Hopefully November comes and there's like a really good version for us to play. But the appearance is like Friday, you push an update and then all of a sudden you have to bring servers down for 12 hours because everything's just broken. Like, well, not everything, but a lot of things. And it's we get told they're working on stuff, but it's hard. And then that moves into marketing. And had done a video for YouTube on this. Is like, you're going to be marketing in what 6 weeks? Is that close to 6 weeks? November 18th? No, it'd be before November 18th because you want to market prior to your start date, right? But here, here we are having to bring servers down for. It's just I get a lot of worry. Stephen went on a discussion about why this was going. He said that it was largely to get new players in, that they wanted to see essentially the casual, the person that was not the golden cohort, as he put it, sort of your hardcore players that are following the game, that they want the data from that player population. They want them in sooner than later, which on this, I guess, kind of makes sense. But, I think with that, potentially we're going to see some more, changes. Everyone, especially this weekend, when they come in and they ask me, should I buy this? Should I buy this? Of course, I always talk about the 90-day refund, but I've actually been telling people to wait because of the November update. But also, I highly suspect, now they've obviously not announced this, but and this is not like some insider information, my own opinion, I highly suspect they're going to lower the cost. They've had a chance to reach as many people as they can at $100 price point. Like, I don't think marketing is going to change who you have. Players are aware of your game. I get it. You think that there's this untapped resource, and to a degree there is, largely on TikTok, but because no one streams on TikTok but me, apparently, with Ashes of Creation. I do get a lot of people in TikTok. What is this? What is this? What is this? But when you go to YouTube, you have, you have videos with millions of views. I mean, Asmon's covered this. Josh Drive Hayes has covered this. Thor's covered this. like I don't know who you expect to get with $100 anymore. I don't think that player group is out there. And there was a comment on a video today that also made a lot of sense. Is like, well, what do you expect to be there? You're supposed to have 130,000 players that have bought into this. That's what I guess that number came up on an interview he did with Peon. It's like, where are they?
But I don't know why you would use casuals that name, because I don't think casuals are going to be playing
casual.
Okay.
But essentially it was the quote less engaged, which to me is that.
Okay. So let's say you're less engaged. But
They might be. They might not be casual. They might just not be hardcore for Ashen.
I'll take less engaged. I get it. But even then, what's the engaging part to spend money on? Like, especially more than 60? What are you going to be playing or even testing? I mean, one that you can't, I mean, there's other stuff to play. Yeah. That's not an alpha. There's other stuff to play that's not an alpha. Then you're going to, let's say you spend $60 to come in. What's the hook? I don't know what the hook is. I mean, there's no augments. There's not 64 classes. There's, I mean, no settlement development. There's not a bunch of sieges happening all the time. What's the hook?
Well, I mean, the reality is you talk to anyone that plays right now, which is not as many. A lot, the numbers of, I mean, how many of our fellow content creators have stopped? Polar isn't even playing anymore. Like they're on a break since their leader got 7 days suspended. But anyone that is actively playing, I think I've had one person that thought that marketing was a good idea right now. Now, I think that was actually Vale. Are you still on YouTube? Because I think it was you. You had left a comment that you were all for it. Everyone else, even your hardcore players, are like, I don't know what the point of this is. Like, what are you trying to do? Of course, everyone's assumption is money. Like that's that. Of course, everyone heard him talk about needing new players, new blood, basically. But when a lot of people come in and say they think that they need more money, which I don't know. I don't know if it's that. I don't know what it is. It just feels weird. It feels very, very weird that all of your players are telling you this is a bad idea. And actually, when he went on his discussion of marketing, if you go back and watch the last dub update, like no one else commented. Like, I mean, Margaret was in there, and what's his face was there, and like they were just like they were not talking about that when he I don't know. I don't know what the internal thoughts are. Because I feel like you get potentially, because then we get into this idea of crowfall where you tap into an audience too soon. They don't like what they see. And there is a 90-day refund. So they get their money back and then they're unhappy. And so then you burn through that audience like Crowfall did. And then we see that in New World too, right? New World pissed off literally like 90% of their player population that first week because of everything that went through on release. New World has turned into a good game. I think it's actually a pretty decent game right now. Nobody, you got a lot of people that won't try it sometime. Yeah, I'll play it with you. I mean, I think it's turned into a decent game, but you've already burned through so many people with your reputation, like they're never coming back. So I don't know. I don't get it, man. But
I mean, but that's
one of these days. Really? I'm still gonna get Omi to sign my steel case that I bought for it.
Nice. Yes, we should try playing New World. That is one of the ones that I'm looking at. So if New World is the one for you, Neuro,
that's one of the ones. System was all right with it. That's actually closer to a combat system I was kind of hoping to see.
Yeah. Is it Night Haven? Is that what the new update is called? Something. Anyway, something's coming up.
I want to respond to Stunner. It says I disagree. A higher number of players during alpha beta testing is always needed, as many bugs and tech limitations can only be brought out with numbers. You're right. Like the more players you get, the better. I don't know where you expect those players to come from. at $100. Like I just don't know what they think their audience is. Like how many, we're supposed to have 130,000 people is what we've been told that have bought into this. Like, well, where are they? I mean, even when we had Alpha 2 start, I think their highest concurrency, what did they say, was like 8,000? So like something just feels weird. Something just seems odd, but I don't disagree with you, Stoner. I just don't know that that's going to happen right now. There was a wonderful quote from Dave Georgeson that I also put out where he basically is talking about, and it was actually real. It worked because he was talking in an interview about how they're in the middle of doing alpha, beta, blah, blah. And, gamers are going to game. And if they don't like your game, if they're not having fun, even in alpha, they're going to leave and they're not going to come back. And I think it's actually a very eye-opening quote. And then what happens? They close EverQuest Next because they couldn't find the fun. It wasn't fun. People weren't, and so it was true. Like it happened to them.
Well, and they didn't have a game. But
wait. We also have to keep in mind EverQuest Next Landmark was not running in the black, it was running in the red, and everything running in the red was axed either before or immediately after the Daybreakening.
Yeah. But I was going to say the fascinating thing about this is No Man's Sky. People apparently came back to that, or they got a whole bunch more people because they actually did make the game better for free. And kind of same thing with New World. I mean, like you say, in the beginning, people were upset, but right now, like I remember you were saying with these low numbers, how long can New World last? And not only have they lasted, but they've improved.
Oh yeah.
They had a lot of identity clash feedback from, or whiplash, I guess, from the switch from a survival-y sort of game to the sort of game that they ended up with. Mm-hmm. And then even from there, after launch, they had a chance to be like, all right, why did launch go the way it did? What can we do with it? And they took action and they kept working with it. I haven't played it really at all since the earlier days of it, but other than not having a mount and feeling like it took forever to get everywhere and feeling like that went from being content to being fake content, or also went from being fake content to, oh yeah, just gather a little here of this, a little of that along the way. And, by the time you get to the quest objective and come back, your bags are going to be full of a bunch of stuff you may or may not need. Process it for your processing skill and then throw half away.
Yeah, I'm just wondering what the player experience would feel like jumping in now or soonish with, like you say, the way the economy is, where, you have to grind for resources, and then, or even, like you say, really 2,000 arrows it takes to kill a boss.
I didn't feel like it was a heartbreaking, endless grind in New World. I felt like because there was a high player base and the game was fairly new, there was just a lot of competition to be the person who dings the node and collects it.
Yeah.
And after a little while, that started to thin out. And after a little while, I started finding that there are other and better places to find certain things, especially as I ranked up a little bit. It's like, oh, wait, you mean right near that starting town, there's like level 35 tigers and jute? Well, hell yeah, I'm going to get my herbalism and skinning skills on. That sounds fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, like, I don't know how much I'm actually going to sit down and grind, or if I am just going to gather and auction house my materials and just buy stuff, because people make so many amazing pre-made items that there's no need for me to add to the economy. And that's fine. That's good. I like that. I like that there's that level of things available everywhere and that I can just, get things. I'd rather things be available and in abundance than there not be any of them anywhere and the only things people list are the highest rarity, gougiest ones that I can't afford and I don't really care for. It's just a placeholder for the next 8 levels.
Yeah, I think that's the thing I was going to say is you want people to be making stuff, which I think just seems like is not happening in Ashes right now because it's too much of a hassle.
Yeah, and that's why the dynamic recipes are such a good thing. You have dynamic recipes, you have a bunch of legendary high tier materials. Great. Now the thing you've made with those things and that recipe are badass. They're badass because you put badass inputs into a badass recipe. That's how you get your badass items. It's not because it's a fixed recipe and fixed rarities are needed for every last component to make it badass. Otherwise it's going to be the wrong color and not badass enough and all of that. Like, no, like it's ridiculous. I like the experimentation. That's so core to what would make a proper economy, because everybody's throwing simpler ones that they haven't, recycled from materials back up on the market. But then the ones that people make that they get a higher roll with, a better quality with, or they happen to have found a combination that happens to be in demand. You use this material with this type of material and this type of material on this recipe, and it gives you a set of attributes that happen to be in style right now for that level range. Well, hell, you're going to produce a bunch of those and people are going to come to your town to buy your weapon that you make, which is going to help the economy of that town. That actually feels like a working game. I don't feel like we have that right now. See, that's those systems that I was talking about that there's a hope for something better, and what we've gotten in exchange or instead is just not even close to sufficient. And I like a lot of the people at the company. I like a lot of the work they've done, and I'm sure they're doing a lot of really good work. And that's the unfortunate part, because good work going into a bad direction is hard to discern from bad work. It's technically more correct, but it doesn't get you any better or any closer towards a better game and better systems. And I don't know why they've changed things so much, but it's really going to make it just like as it is right now. Anybody who's into crafting, anybody who's into diverse economies and artisanry and trade, if you told them the whole extent of where the system is now and where it used to be and that it's now evolved to the current point, I don't think they would give this game any attention whatsoever. And so and we've been telling them this the whole time. Even before we could play the game, even between Alpha 1 and Alpha 2 and all throughout Alpha 2, this has been the constant repeating feedback. And, I know I'm not the only one to say this. And when people come out and say this sort of stuff, a lot of people come out and agree and say, hey, yeah, that person's right. We should have a system like that. Somehow it just doesn't make it all the way to the cutting room, the design floor, and gets picked among the options for how they can go. And so it's one of those things. I know every episode now I've probably been harping on it, this episode maybe even more than previous ones, but it's one of those things. It brings me back to the comment Mike Murrows gave in an interview about D&D 5.5, the 2024 edition, about like they didn't like their audience, so instead of firing the team or changing the project, they fired their audience and went forward with the version they wanted to do. And you can't fire your audience. And honestly, like that has been what it's felt like, and it really pains me to see that that's the direction the game has taken. I really think they can recover. I think there's a lot of ways they can do a lot to make all the systems a lot better. Maybe make where and how PvP appears and occurs and is not able to be opted in, like rein that in a little bit. Right now, it sounds like every now and then you're just going to be stepping into the Wild West. Even if you are a member of no guild and a citizen of no town, you might still just walk in the wrong place and you're going to get ganked. And It's not because you're a bad person. It's not because you've done things to harm other players. You just happen to be in the place where there's an opportunity to freely attack other people, and they decide, "Ooh, fresh meat! I'm gonna get them." And it's like I would imagine a dog handler trying to hold on to all of their giant ass dogs when a rabbit at the park, comes hopping by on the path. Like, that thing's A, gonna be gone after those dogs start barking, and B, you've now got like multiple 200-pound dogs on leashes that are about to drag your ass along if you can't get control of them right now. Anyway, I think that metaphor went a little too far off in a tangent here. So let's bring it back to earth.
I'm not even sure when he talks about getting this feedback, like what they expect to get differently from what they already have. Your golden cohort, they're the ones that are supposed to be the most invested, right? They're likely going to be the ones that say, everything's great. We love it. This is so wonderful. They're not saying that. Like, your golden cohort is not saying that. So I don't, so that should tell you something about where your game is. Now, again, they could very well have some version that we just don't know of that's like fixed a lot of stuff and doing, and hopefully that exists. But from what we see right now, I just don't know. I don't know what they expect to get different from feedback. Like, new people will come in, they're going to say the same thing. The economy's messed up. It takes too long to craft. I don't like to grind. Like, especially from less engaged folks. I just don't know what you expect to get different from that. This also ties in. I think I put out that beta 2026 video in between. Yeah, I think I put that since our last show. So I posted a YouTube video, and obviously a lot of people disagree with me, and that's fine. But this is part of the evidence I use. So basically the premise of the video is that my opinion is that beta is going to start next year, probably towards the end of next year. And that will kind of swiftly move towards a release at the end of 2026 or start of 2027. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. Some of it being just the way they're commenting on things and kind of they themselves bringing up release and expansions and stuff. But part of it is also this marketing drive. I can't. I think most of you know what I do for a living. Like, I try to understand people and where they're coming from. I just don't get this. I don't understand this desire to move into marketing if it's not to keep moving things along towards a beta, and that in turn makes me worry. Like, what happens if this fails? Like, where do they end up if they do marketing and they lower the price and you still don't get what you like? Is this a litmus test? He used the word litmus test. Like, is this a litmus test for the future? Like, if you fail, do you think your game's not going to, like, where do we go from there? I don't know. It makes me nervous to talk about, but everyone gets quiet when I mention beta 2026, but most people disagree with me. But
yeah, I mean, it's before 2030, so
We'll see
Phantom, I don't know
what they're gonna cut.
I don't know what you have planned in going through your notes, but I would like to squeeze in two things to talk about tonight. One is our thoughts on the Summoner preview, and the other, what was the other one? I can't remember off the top of my head. It's been so long now.
Sport fishing?
No. It's what you're looking forward to for November. Because different stuff is coming in November,
Summoner.
supposedly. Is that the only thing?
yes.
Okay.
Summoner, because the other two things are the other two, the sport fishing, and I know that this comes from ArcAge, but the idea of having to reel something in and then jump into the water to pick it up out of the water and strap it on my back while I'm in the water seems so stupid to me, but I get it. That's what ArcAge did, so that's what he wants to do.
Okay.
And then also we already have plenty of guilds that have and people openly in Discord saying, you know what, I want corruption to spread, and these corruption zones will be lawless. So like, their intent clearly is already to come in and disrupt anyone trying to complete these challenges and to close corruption. Yeah. So
which is how you're going to destroy your server, because if corruption spreads too far, you will get to a breaking point and your server will be in an apocalyptic state from which it cannot recover.
Now, I did say in the first few weeks of coming into this community from the Kickstarter, as one of the worlds that I would like to see. One, I would have liked to see a test world where they try to turn off most of the PvP and you have to turn it on, like the mayors turn it on when they decide to have a war. Just to see what it would be like to have a PvE server that would not really completely be PvE only, but as far as you could get with a PvE only server, just to test to see what that would what that would be like. But I also wanted to see a world that was like complete corruption, like, and then apocalyptic, like you're saying. I'd love to see a world like that. And I guess that's a possibility now, huh? Interesting.
So you said summoners, fishing, and what was the third?
Corruption, I think, is what's coming in.
The harbingers.
The corruption. Okay,
Harbinger.
you forgot another one that's way more important than all of those combined.
What are you talking about? The story, the narrative content system? Because there's somebody that we might know that I'm looking forward to.
I'm looking forward to some more narrative too, but no, that's not it. It's ladders. They said they just got ladders in last night as of the live stream. Ladders, everybody. We can climb. We now have the same technology as a first-person shooter game. We're there. It's the holy grail, everybody. That was it. Now,
we might get that before November.
I might sound facetious about this. I don't know when we're actually going to get it, but for me, it was actually a very big deal. The ability to climb, the ability to make and deploy ladders is something I've actually been very, very, very interested in. And for rogues to actually have their like climbing ability, well, surely we're going to need some way to be able to climb with them. So that's something that I've been waiting on for quite a while, to see climbing, to see ladders, to see, I don't know, climbing down a rope perhaps so you don't have to fall. There's a lot that they can do with that now that it's working, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it works. It sounds like a small thing, but for me, it's a really big deal, depending on what they do with it and how far they go with the systems.
Can I ask real quick about dynamic gridding and where that is and when it was supposed to come, and when was that supposed to come originally?
It's supposedly in now.
Okay.
Yeah, it's supposed to be here. Phase 1 got pushed back. We don't know. The last we heard anything about it, they had to manually turn it on and off. I don't know if it's now an automatic thing or not.
That's the last thing that I had heard from other folk, was that they have dynamic gridding allegedly only on a manual and that it's not automatic. But if it is automatic, they'll let us know in the next live stream or make some announcement about it.
I can tell you, it's fairly noticeable when you cross the server worker handoff still, and pretty much the lines for me have never changed. Like I know where there's going to be a server worker handoff. Now that could very well be there's just not enough people playing to trigger this whole dynamic nature. Running through Winstead sucks. And that's even on EU, which has less people than the NA server. I mean, it can be horrible running through Winstead. And I've not noticed any shuffling of server workers or anything doing that. And actually, they had another one of the bugs that got introduced Friday that I think they fixed was every time you did cross a server worker boundary, like you got spammed with all these notifications.
Oh yeah.
And
like what level you are and all of that
like
stuff.
Experience, you got zero lumber milling experience and stuff like that, which might have been why the servers lagged so heavy. And they had to go fix that because all of their players were getting hit with these notifications. But I don't know. Dynamic grading is supposed to be in, but they've not made any big deal about it. So I have I think that that's something that if it's working very well, we're going to hear about it, because my opinion, and that is that if they could get a very well running dynamic gridding system working, they will make far more money from that than they ever would from Ashes of Creation. So I think we would hear about it. And so far, we've not really had an update.
Or they're keeping it close to their chest because they don't want to just be like, "Hey, everybody," but they want to kind of, they're shopping for some private vendors to buy into it first. I don't know. I ain't from the business world.
Well, they seem to obviously have a working relationship with Unreal, with Epic. So,
Yep, that's true.
it would be a nice thing to put into, UE6, I'm sure, if it was something they could get working. And I imagine that would be quite a large licensing fee they would get. So, I don't know.
Damn, that's right. We're still thinking about 6 when 5 isn't even optimized.
No, I mean, people joke about it, but like, could UE6 come out before we even get Ashes with UE5? I don't know. When we started with UE4.
27, 28 is when they're thinking of UE6 coming out.
When they say
2030.
Possible.
Summoner. What do you guys think?
Summoner seems okay. I actually wonder if a non-summoner build is viable if speccing into all of their not summoning abilities and being like an alternative sort of caster type would actually be viable, or if all of their stuff is so incredibly tied to having one of the 3 creatures out and how it interfaces with that type of creature that is simply impossible. But it just kind of, I'm not going to say necessarily seems bland, but I feel like I'd rather them be automated than having to control them. If they're all just a one-trick pony, why do I have to control them? Or why can't I control them with parts of my my normal character interface, the old target this, do that sort of thing, rather than at least that was how they originally made it sound, was that you take over the summon when you cast the summon, and that now you have to use the summon and the rest of the party to protect your summoner while you do things. But I don't know if that's actually the case anymore.
So I did play the summoner. Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell us about it.
Yeah,
no, you go because you've played it.
Yeah, I mean, I messed around with it on the PTR. It's not, obviously, I think like half the kit's broken or something still. The things that, but what I played felt like it was in a good spot, like on a path to, because I think we've said, that each class subsequently that we've had has been better than the next. So like the rogue is the last one is super well. The movement with the rogue feels so good, in playing with it, and the bard before that. And so I do think the summoner feels like it's on a really good path. Now it's really hard to gauge though, because, they've said it is overtuned. So you're overpowered compared to everything around you. You're also started and you're given pretty good starting gear, which it's all common stuff. I mean, I say pretty good because you don't get anything when you start now. So you actually get starter gear. And so it's hard to gauge from just like a powerful is it kind of thing. I was primarily using the hunter pet and was easily taking things, my level or a little bit higher that were 2 stars, like just by myself with my pet. Interestingly, I think most of that damage though came from me and not the pet.
Did you have to control the pet, or is it actually?
No, it's an auto. There's auto attack.
Okay, well, thank goodness, because the idea that you had to control the summons was definitely not something I was looking forward to.
No, it's very, very much. I think most people would say it feels very, very much like just like your standard World of Warcraft sort of warlock pet basically. You know, it
That's
has
kind of what he was modeled around.
yeah, like
Yeah.
it has your classic assist, defend, stay kind of commands or whatnot, attack everything. But the class itself, I think, is going to be fun. It'll be interesting to see, if you put together 8 people, like how well that performs.
Oh,
to
I have a question. So you played the hunter. I mean, you were summoner that was mostly summoning the hunter minion. What does the hunter minion do?
DPS. So you just have your DPS, tank, and healer pets at this point, basically. So it's just damage. There's some bugs. I mean, it disappeared once or twice. I died once because I pulled a bunch of stuff trying to do a bunch of, and my pet was just gone, just poof. But no, they all look very similar as well. But we're supposed to be able to see, I think, variations of the summons as we get into secondaries and stuff being available. But
exactly.
But there's no racial differences.
Not right now. No.
I mean, you could get racial augments theoretically, but I was trying to understand how those would apply. Like, what
Yeah,
would
I
they
feel like a lot of
change
that
to
stuff is. I think we can probably quit talking about a lot of those things at this point.
I was initially back in the day saying it should change them significantly because it's supposed to change them significantly, but taking a look at what I saw in the preview, it does have me wondering if it's a lot of that is just going to be color differences. But
yeah, Pockets mentioned in the stream, they talked about positioning your pet has different effects. Yeah, I mean, where they're at with that right now, though, I mean, it's the pet goes where the pet wants to go. I mean, there's, as far as I could tell, there was no ability to sort of position them in a specific kind of way currently. But like I said, half the kit's not really functioning anyway.
So what part isn't functioning? You say half, like
spells
what?
and stuff. There were warnings about going corrupted because the pet would just attack random. I don't know. There were a lot of, corruption seems to be a very big thorn in their side. We've talked about dueling has probably been an issue because of corruption and how it's implemented. And now it sounds like dueling is also going to be probably pushed back from where they thought. But I mean, I think I was not displeased with my experience with the summoner. So I mean, I look forward to it.
Good.
So.
How much of the kit do you feel like was exclusive to having a summon out, and how many things didn't actually require a summon to be useful or maximally effective?
Oh, that's good. I don't think any of my spells that I was using. You could have leveled yourself up to 25 if you wanted. I actually just stayed at 1 to see what it was like leveling. So I don't think that the stuff I was casting really had any influence by the pet, to be honest. The pet, I think, was just doing damage. I don't think, because the way it works, you don't automatically get a summons. Your first skill point, you have to put into, or not your first skill point, it's in the skill tree. So you can only select one. So you pick one, and then you eventually can pick another, and eventually get the third. Like most of that's why I said most of the damage I was doing was actually coming from me, not from the pet. Like there's some fun stuff. There's one you can put it's like a debuff damage buff on one NPC, and then you can hit it with another spell that spreads it to everything surrounding it. So I mean, it was pretty powerful. They like their AE stuff, for sure.
What I saw in the preview, especially when Margaret was describing using the hunter for DPS, and I think she said something like coming out of stealth. So it had me thinking, oh, what would that be like to have a summoner rogue? Probably a rogue summoner is what I'm thinking, to have a rogue summoner. And if I can summon a hunter pet with the rogue summoner, what that might be like. Also, again, had me thinking about how augments would change even the appearance of these. And then especially when you do something like summoner cleric, which is supposed to be the necromancer, how would these look differently as skeletons or something coming from necromancy? And then also, right, if it's summoner cleric, you have to get a so you go all the way up to 25 to get your secondary augments, and then suddenly everything you summon doesn't look like these things, but instead look like undead things. That seems strange to me.
Want my
Just the
necro.
appearance of these.
Want my necro. So.
Right, and so thinking about that, like you have to spend half your leveling summoning these things when what you want to be is a necromancer.
Lattice.
That just seems really odd to me.
Well, the real odd part about the necromancer is from hearing about the 4 different traits you can assume from the cleric class. None of them are like death damage. It's radiant damage. So I don't know how we get to a necro anyways, but I would like to see the summons. You know,
I'm just changed.
Well, I'm just throwing it out there that, okay, there's levels 26 through 50 that we don't know is available yet. So there's still opportunity for that. You know, sometimes I wonder if Steven plays the game at all. Like he used to. One of the things I loved so much about early on in alpha was him jumping in and doing little events with people. Like Vladis, who just joined us, I think got a mount or something from him, and you know, jumping in. He spawned an event while I was streaming, killed me as a pet, as a bug or something. I don't think he gets in anymore. I actually want him to play the game and not do GM stuff. Exactly. And because he made a statement and it felt like it kind of cheated him. It demonstrated a little bit about him not playing. Was during the stream, there was a comment on corruption. And, you know, right now you can unstuck will kill you. Right. So, so that people don't abuse it as a teleportation mechanic. And there was a question brought up about the corruption, like, well, the unstuck, you know, that's a way around corruption. And he was adamant that it wasn't, that no, it's not. You know, the unstuck causes you to die. And when you die, you suffer the death. You know, you still die, basically, is what he said. You still suffer from the
penalties. Yeah.
But the part where it feels like he doesn't actually play, it's like, well, it's like, all right, Stephen, what is the biggest risk of corruption death right now? Like, what is it that people fear at this point? It's not the EXP debt. It's losing your gear. Like, that's the hardest thing to suffer through with a corruption death, is losing your gear. So 100% it's a workaround, because you can unstuck, die, and a friend can just pick up your stuff for you. Right. And now you're corruption free. You don't lose any gear because they picked it up. So like 100% it's a workaround. And I've seen videos of it, of people doing that. So, and that's not to be like super negative or anything with him, but I just, he makes statements like that. And it's like, wow, are you not actually in playing? Like you would, because I feel like you'd know that. You know, if you were actually in game play testing corruption and stuff, because 100% that's a workaround.
Well, I guess the question is he playing with other people on a regular basis? Like, I mean, you know, other Intrepid people.
But anyways, it's all about losing your gear. And he said that. I was like, well, wait a minute. Like, I can go kill Neuro and have you pick up my gear after I unstuck myself so that I lose the corruption that I got. And we can go meet up at Lionhold and all's good. So I get it. It's testing.
So wait,
it's not long term.
So again, you're saying you do unstuck, you lose corruption, but you still have the death penalties.
You die.
And then what about gear degradation? Do they take the gear off before they do unstuck?
Well,
I don't know how
you can't do that with
gear
corruption.
degradation works. Okay.
If you're corrupted, you're screwed. I mean, basically, yeah, can't take gear off. Yeah, exactly as Puckett said. So the
Okay.
workaround is you just let somebody kill you. You just. But the other thing, you just let your friend kill you. But this is an easier method of just you just unstack, die, and they can pick your stuff up and go poof, and there you go. But
Okay.
again, I get it. It's not a permanent thing. It's a testing unstuck thing right now. But but when we get towards marketing, are your new players going to understand that? You don't need gear to PK. Well, that's true, but people got to 25 without gear just fine. Anyways, you had brought up exploiting as well. That was another thing. Actually, before we get to that, what do y'all think about a fresh start server? You aren't playing anyways. This was something that was brought up in Discord by Margaret. And either was like a big sort of gaffe in the process and in the approach, or they're going to definitely have a fresh start server. She popped into Discord and asked just the question of what do y'all think if we have a fresh start server? And of course, a lot of people got upset. What do you mean? Like, does that mean you're going to close the other servers? Why would you split your population into 3 different servers? And so she immediately is like, no, this was just a question. Like, we've not decided to do that. And then I forget what she switched to. She tried to switch the topic. Oh, name one bug or feedback. I don't know. She tried to switch the topic, but the sort of damage was kind of done. Everybody was like, well, I think assuming now that there is going to be a fresh start server.
Is
I'm
it
not opposed to it. I think it's fine.
I'm just saying it's not really splitting your population if you're supposedly bringing in a whole bunch of new people.
I don't know.
You can have the one. You can have the ones that you don't have to close the other worlds to open up a fresh start server.
Well, I think
you can keep those. The people who have been playing can play on that if they want to, and then you have a fresh start. And I mean, I guess people can start over there. But if they're doing marketing to get in a whole bunch of new people, then sure, open up a new server.
Well, I think also a lot of the people that are on the existing servers would go to a fresh start, so that would automatically kill their server anyways, because and as Vladis puts it, yeah, you don't really want a fresh start if your economy issues aren't fixed, because you're just going to have the same problems all over again. I agree with that, but at the same time, we don't know even what their marketing means at this point. Like they talked about possibly having content creators, so if they do bring people in, I think you definitely want a new server. For them to play on.
Yeah.
But it's chased people away. Even I think I mentioned even Polar's not playing right now. So I think Royer found Polar over in the Ascension WoW server.
I think it would kind of suck to be forced to jump in where everybody is already a bunch of levels ahead, and then you have almost no chance of becoming a mayor of a settlement.
Yeah, I think you just have to have a new experience for your new players. So, I don't know. That was another thing, but it's like I hope you don't ask that question if it wasn't already planned, because that just said this. Discord's already been such a touchy place in there, anyways. Like, but that just set off a lot of people in discussion about what that meant. So, that's the other thing where I've been telling people. When they come in and ask about buying the game, like, you might just wait till November, like for a variety of reasons right now, one of which might be that your character gets deleted, in 6 weeks. So, although for a new player, they might not care. Like for those of us that have had to go through several wipes, another one does not always look good.
I don't mind if everything's actually good. Like, that's if it wasn't for the performance, it's probably because like nothing has fundamentally changed much since the start of 2.5. Not enough that would really bring me back in compared to all the things that are fundamentally wrong right now. So if they got a lot of things fixed up and it felt like everything was, going fundamentally right and just had a lot of bugs and issues and missing content, yeah, I'll probably put a lot more effort in trying to get it up and running, and checking it out more. But it ain't that right now, unfortunately. And so I'm not really super inspired to jump in until after the November update. And then at that point, see with everything they bring, and if they do a fresh start, to jump on that and see how progression, everything feels, and how two different starting areas. Hopefully, the dwarf starting area will have been filled out enough to. It's not going to be as full and rich as the Riverlands, but to at least be more filled in and rich than like the Sandswall Desert. Yeah, I don't know with this whole marketing thing. Like it, yeah, if the people that you already have aren't coming around, what do you think people that you bring in are going to do after they've paid? Like, if everybody comes in, plays it, and says, and then leaves, like that could end up being a lasting negative impression for the game, for not just them, but anybody who asks them is like, oh yeah, I heard you tried Ashen. How was it? Like, man, that thing was blah. So, trying to avoid that sort of thing and, get things in better shape. Of course, I keep on saying that, thinking back to where the game was back at the beginning of the year, where the game could have been, where it ended up instead, and how it's making people feel about everything now. Like they made a giant course change on so many things that, like, the things that they replace them with aren't better, they aren't even as good. And so these changes have not just made the game different, in a lot of ways they have made the game lesser than it could or ought to be. There's still time. They can still correct it, but it's going to take a lot of effort and a lot of changes from leadership.
Spend the next year fleshing out your Western continent, and just do that. Just focus on that. Release with that. Put the rest in later. This was, again, I have a whole theory behind that whole beta thing, because he also commented on, I think it was with Golden Feather Tavern, that they already had the first expansion story-wise planned. Cough, cough, if someone's in chat. And so that makes me wonder, again, did they push Underworld, the Underrealm and Tolnar back? Because we've not seen anything about that. And is that your first expansion? Like, you're buying yourself a little bit more time to introduce them to the world.
Polnar and the Underrealm are stretch goals, so I don't mind that. I'm more concerned again about getting augments in. I mean, they gotta have at least some. They can't. I mean, again, we had No Man's Sky didn't have everything in there that they said they were going to release with. But not having 64 classes, I don't know.
The artisanship thing, sorry, Pockets has mentioned this. What worries me more about it than anything, people are going to miss the mark, and they mentioned missing the mark. But, if we go back, like, we were told, oh, this awesome economy change is coming up, we're working on it. Like, it was kind of hyped up as this thing that they were going to give to us. And it was arguably worse. So again, it's like, how are you testing these things? Like, how are you putting these things out? Like, you were kind of getting us hyped, that this was going to be such a good thing. And everybody just didn't like it. Like, so when they say, oh, well, we've added 2 more teams and we're going to, I don't know, it's like you burn once. Like, what are you expecting a second time? I don't know. I want to craft. That's all I want to do. So it annoys me. I'm not going to raid. I'll PvP when I have to, but I want to go out and create shit. And I have no motivation to do that right now. So.
I noticed that one of the minions that the summoner summons is called Guardian, which is also the name of the tank. Um, is that okay? That one of the minions is? I mean, I guess if that minion literally is a tank, I guess that's okay. It just seems a little strange. Like I had me wondering. And the ranger fighter is the fighter ranger. Fighter ranger is a hunter. Fighter ranger is a hunter.
Yeah,
I
that makes
wonder if
sense.
that fits.
Because the hunter pack,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it can do both ranged and melee.
So what? We're gonna rename them Bitey, Beefcake, and Bandage.
Right. I'm just wondering if we're gonna get if that hints that maybe some of those class names will get renamed. I don't know. I'm just curious. That had me thinking when I heard these names come up as
I hope not.
what they're calling these minions. So I don't know. I just thought that was interesting to me.
All right.
I don't think we have a mystic.
We're almost at the end here. The last thing I wanted to bring up, because again, this all ties back to marketing, is there was a post put in. I've shared a lot into our drama channel about some of the hacking and the exploits and everything. You know, you see flying caravans and stuff.
Discord drama channel.
Yeah, yes. And somebody this morning put together a big post actually in the Ashes Discord that got deleted, that had screens of a lot of different player made UIs and things that identify rarity. They posted a video of somebody that was selling services to inject basically into the code so you could affect run speed and attack speed and cast speed. And it's just such a Wild West mess there too still with that whole process. Again, putting in this marketing spin, bringing new people in that one, I feel like, they obviously, what is it they use? BattleEye, is that Epic's? They have a kernel level anti-cheat that runs.
Easy anti-cheat?
Easy anti-cheat, right. And, but it's also so easy to work around that. Like, I don't know that you can rely on your anti-cheat to be effective here, which to me just means they don't have the tools developed to like detect people. Like, it shouldn't be hard to tell that someone's running faster than they're supposed to be, right? There should be a way to detect that. They don't seem to have that. It feels like a lot of this comes after the fact when they're given videos, then they can go back and check things. Now they also have said that there's a lot behind the scenes, and we're supposed to start getting some sort of tool, something presented to us weekly that shows that who they're abandoning and what, and well, not exactly who. It's like the first two letters of an account name or something, and somewhat of an idea of why they're getting banned or suspended. But it just at times feels like, they just haven't created those tools yet to actually actively seek things out during live gameplay. So I don't know. That's the other thing you had mentioned exploiting earlier. It's wild, some of the stuff you can do, man.
Yeah. And that's the part that's the worst, is like we're ceding over kernel level control and it isn't even stopping shit. So like that's the thing I've been thinking about. I've been talking about it with my brother more and more with the whole Windows 11 thing about, well, what's Steam able to be, what Steam games can be run on Linux without much fudgery? Oh, basically anything without kernel level anti-cheat. Okay. So I guess that means Ashes of Creation, League of Legends, and 2XKO and Battlefield. Like that was how some people came to discover that they had kernel level anti-cheats, because they installed Battlefield 6, and it's like, we have detected a security threat on your computer, and it turned out that it was actually League of Legends throwing that because of riots Vanguard internal kernel level anti cheat. So that's ridiculous to me, and I know they're trying to do something about that with Windows 11, but until they get all those solutions worked out, like, that's another reason I've been thinking maybe I'm just gonna kind of wait on Ashes a little bit and see if Windows is able to get through the thing so people don't have to use the kernel levels anymore, and then ban kernel levels so people aren't using them anymore.
Can you imagine if they added instancing? Because the only reason a lot of these people get caught is because somebody's recording and they see somebody flying across the screen. Now you imagine if there was instance content and nobody could see it. Like, how crazy. I mean, for me, the biggest thing, again, going back to the econ and artisanship side, is I don't know why you're letting clients be able to see rarities. Like, you should just, it should be a harvest time server made decision of some sort, right? Your client is unaware of the rarity until you actually harvest. Like, I don't know why they don't do that. They suspect a lot of it's because of wanting to use this pylon system. And that might be part of why, but if that's the case, I'd just throw out that whole pylon system. I don't even understand it anymore. So,
everything should be server dictated except the inputs you're providing and the inputs being provided by other players. And if it's not, then you have not secured your MMO. Just, that's what it is. Sorry. Like every MMO out there, like that's the deal.
Well, sorry, Pockets and Ludaloo. I think we're gonna have to cancel your.
Oh, no. You two can stay in our channel here and keep on chatting, or you can take it to our Discord. More than happy to see you two talking about that in Discord here with us here. Anybody who's watching on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, whatever. We do have a Discord server. You're more than welcome to join us and talk about all things Ashes of Creation and plenty of other games.
I do want to shout out Pockets. You talk about balance of the game world. Pockets is also always streaming, knows a lot of the systems super, super well. So, check out his channel to get his viewpoints on things. So. Ludaloo as well, although you're not streaming Ashes, right? I cannot remember what you've been streaming, but Ludaloo also.
He's in the forums. So. He's in the forums. He's in the forums, official forums.
I guess. Well, I think this is going to be it for this this show. We've not kind of talked about it yet internally. I don't know that we're going to do anything with Ashes as a group until November gets here. That's not to say we're not going to do a show. So we will probably look at bringing back it's not going to be on Fridays, but what we used to call Theoryforge Fridays, which was just a general discussion about video games.
Of MMOs.
Yeah.
Whatever we're playing.
Yeah.
I could do an entire episode on just Hades and then another one on just Hades 2, and I still have plenty more to talk about. But I don't think we're going to do that because those are single player games.
Yeah.
I love the hell of them. Oh man, soundtrack for 2 is so good. Just done a really good job for Supergiant, who only makes good games. This is their first sequel, and golly, they knocked it out of the park. What a great Supergiant is one of the best indie teams out there. If you want to see what Triple I looks like, look at Supergiant. They're the real deal.
A couple other people before I jump off, just talking about content creators. Triple Killer is also in chat, does stream as well. I've rated him a few times. And then Vladis, I think, is still hanging out. So Vladis, of course, is another one of the longtime content creators. So I think.
When is the content creator program starting?
Maybe November. Applications are still open though. How long have they been saying that? For like a year? We're going to close on
quite a while.
Been saying that since 2020 at least.
It almost feels like they're waiting on a specific person to apply before they cancel it. like, I don't know who you're waiting for, but if they haven't applied by now, they probably aren't. So, and then Royer's in chat too. He hasn't said anything, but I can see you over here on streamer.bot. So, although Royer's not
got shouted out.
not streaming though. Been doing a lot of WoW. So,
Not the lurkers.
oh God, zombies, we're wrapping up. Sorry. Yeah. All right, guys. And then I'll be streaming still Saturdays and Sunday mornings. So, like I said, for now, I'm gonna go back to I'm gonna try some different stuff. Who is it? All right. But you guys keep talking. I'm gonna see who this is that got suggested for a raid. So, real quick.
I don't know. I thought we were done.
We are in post.
We are basically
done wrap up at this point. So,
right, I got it.
I guess we've got Halloween coming up. So, is your office going to be full of decor the next time we come around?
Me? Maybe.
Yeah.
So,
no. You mean change your purple light out for an orange one?
That's a good point. Maybe.
There you go.
All right. Well, I got it queued up. So we're going to go on over and yeah, appreciate y'all. Come hang out. We'll see you later.
There's some cobwebs everywhere. All right. See you later, everybody. Thanks for joining.